Greta, I cried the whole way through this movie.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things I loved about it, and what I loved about the book, is that it's so detailed.
Yes.
You know, the book is not just all the stuff that happens to them, but it's the inner world, the clothes, the food, the house. And I know you had a really clear vision for how you wanted this story to go in your film. So how did you sift through the novel and decide what was relevant to your vision of the story?
Well, I started with a script that was way too long because I love so much that's in the novel. It's just, I could have made an entirely different film with just stuff I didn't use. And I think part of me will always be a little sad that some of it's not in it, but that's okay. I can't make 5-hour movies. Everybody would run for the hills. But I think, you know, one of the things that I did with the script was that I wanted to explode the narrative and put it back together. And I wanted it to put it back together, grounded in adulthood, so that everything about it has this ache of childhood being gone, that it's just not there anymore. And I wanted to play a bit with what the iconography of Little Women is, how it's kind of a collective memory of what this story is and who these girls are, and it enabled me to subvert it.
I found it really interesting how when we hear the phrase Little Women, it's this cozy feeling, it's from the father.
Little women.
And then in their adult life, we hear Aunt March say to Amy, your little painting.
Your little painting, yeah.
The word is used to almost belittle her art.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's funny. Little Women, I always thought of Little Women as a title, as being, in a way, a joke from Louisa. I think Louise May Alcott knew that it sounded diminutive and dismissive, and yet she wrote a sprawling novel about the lives of girls and women and how they moved from girlhood into adulthood and the choices they made. And so I think calling that Little Women is in a way a wink. I've decided she's winking at me through time.
I agree. One detail I love that you included from the book is Jo's loneliness. You know, I think you could have painted her as this fearless warrior, but we have that beautiful speech to her mum where she says that actually she's lonely sometimes. So why did you want to include that vulnerability?
Well, I always think that the thing that is contradictory is the thing that makes a character real. And it was something I found in the book. I mean, Jo talks about her loneliness in the book, and Louisa, as the narrator, talks about Jo's loneliness. And I found that was resonant for me. And also, I have to say, I think the loneliness of writing is something I've experienced, and that sense that sometimes you have to get to zero. You have to feel like there's nothing, like you'll never write again, like there's no stories that are interesting. And I mean, I've seen this movie a bajillion times because I edited it, and it never makes me not emotional. I always get kind of welled up when I see Saoirse waking up in the middle of the night and realizing everything is gone. And what do you do then? It just gets me.
Like it's a really brave choice for her to go out on her own, but also she's allowed to have this sort of emptiness inside.
She's allowed to have the opposite feeling, yeah.
Another thing I love about your work, and particularly in this film, is dance and movement. Not just in like the actual dance scenes, but I felt like I was with these girls dancing around with them, even just their home life, tumbling around together. So what is it about movement that you love in story so much?
Well, I think I have to say, I mean, I grew up watching movie musicals. They were my movies. I didn't really know other movies until I was in college, which is a whole other story why I didn't know about movies. Which makes it sound like I was part of some cult, or I wasn't. But I just didn't really... I didn't understand cinema, but yes, I watched a lot of movie musicals, and I think dance and movement and capturing bodies moving through space has always been something that I love about cinema. And I think when I conceive of narratives, I always end up seeing them as a dance, or seeing them as a whether or not they're not singing, but it's almost like it has a musicality.
Well, you've done a beautiful job.
Thank you so much.